Should be live. Really wish I could have an intro, but apparently it's asking for too much. Yeah. Okay, so debate prep. God, I don't.
Sorry.
Mitochondrial DNA is not my specialty, and but I could do what I can. I got a whole bunch of folders on it, and full of papers and all kinds of stuff. But I would suggest watching those Dr. Dan videos on the difference between these the DNA studies that the creationists love, which are the what the hell they call them, what they do from one generation to another,
Pedigree.
compared to pedigree, compared to how DNA, uh, compared to how mitochondrial DNA changes in a population. The
Yeah.
mitochondrial DNA is a little bit different because in every cell you have a huge population of variation, right? Because you have thousands of mitochondria,
Mhm.
and and if you test those, I don't know how they're doing the tests that they do for the pedigree analysis, but it has very little to do with the actual molecular clock for mitochondrial DNA. And the creationists are just lying about this stuff, and it's and Donnie is just going to get Gallup all over you. So anyway, but okay. So there's a couple of things coming up. Scott and I are going to be on Godless Grandy tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Central, and we're going to collide with Dave's. I don't know how Dave's doing right now, so we may collide a little bit with Sonata. But if we do Sonata, we'll do it a little bit later. We'll do it after that. We're going to be on for an hour from 3:30 to 4:30 Central. And Rebecca and Cornelius Hunter, who I have a lot of affection for. I love that man. They're going to be tearing into why evolution is a religion, and this is, that's a whole subject right there that we could talk about. But first of all, I kind of want to talk about I have these two things. I think I would like us to stop using some language and stop falling into some of the traps that we fall into. Like one of them, my pet peeve, is give us your best evidence or evidences for evolution, and that is just ridiculous. And the other one is when we say evolution is a fact, that's kind of rhetoric. Evolution is not the kind of a thing that can be a fact, because the theory of evolution has about a million different things in it, right? It's got like a million different moving parts. And out of all those moving parts, we have all these hypotheses, like a million of them. And we're throwing some out and we're modifying some and we're moving them around. And overall, so the theory of evolution is something different from, I guess, the idea of, do you believe in evolution? And I think the word believe is the wrong word too. I think accept evolution is kind of a smarter move. So
The reason you would say evolution is a fact is because it is a theory supported by so many facts. To say it's not a fact would be kind of perverse. It is factual that natural selection acts as a filter on mutations in populations, and there's a cumulative effect of this over generations. That's the simplified version of the fact we teach kids in school. It gets more complicated than that, obviously, but I think in general, I don't see any problem with somebody saying evolution is a fact. I think it's perfectly fine. It's fairly accurate. It's a
I think
very
it's,
factual theory.
yeah, and I disagree with you strongly on that. I think I think it's not the kind of a thing you can say is a fact. It'd be like saying cosmology is a fact.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, what
I think it is a fact though that like like the basic premise of the alleles change over time.
changing alleles, right? Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think that's a fact. So like
yeah.
so I do. I mean, I know science doesn't use the word fact, but like when I'm talking to people who don't seem to understand what the word theory actually means in science, they pretend like that's we're saying that this is something that we like dreamed up in the middle of the night, and
Yeah.
I do refer to it as like it's a fact. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like,
evolution is a theory composed of millions of facts, including the fact of evolution, the fact that alleles and populations change over time through a process that we call evolution. And that process is also a fact, too, just like the water cycle is a fact. I don't know. I can kind of see where you're coming from on this, Mike, but like, I don't know if we're going to see eye to eye on this one.
well, it's a bundle of about 1 million facts. So,
Yeah,
like, the theory consists of about 1 million hypotheses.
trillion. Yeah, trillion
Yeah.
facts. Oh, yeah, yeah, and well, a lot of hypotheses. Yeah.
So, like, one of them is that genes duplicate, right? That sections of the DNA will duplicate, and that's a fact. Like,
Yeah.
we know that we tested that, so that's a fact. And there are a whole bunch of that there are SNPs or single nucleotide polymorphisms. That's a fact. So we have all these different facts, but if you want to call the whole thing a fact, we have to talk a little bit more about what it is. And I think another way to look at this, well, I can come at this from another angle. Okay. So we have, let me put this up here. So we have the cat kind. And so this is a clade. Okay. Basically, this is a clade. So this is what we call a clade. And we have, we have a hypothesis that there's a common ancestor, one particular kitty kind. Okay. And out of this kitty kind, all of these rays, basically evolution happened and they diversified into these groups, which are populations that vary. They're different. They're panthers, there are leopards, there's ocelots, there's domestic cat, tigers and lions, and all of that. And then we have the dog kind down here. And so we have another hypothesis. So these are two different hypotheses, right? That we have a dog kind and a cat kind. Okay. And then, and the amazing thing is that every creationist out there would agree with this. They would say that hypothesis is a fact, that all the cats came from this particular two cats that hopped off the ark, right? So they would agree with that. So what are they saying here? So they're agreeing with evolution as we know it. So the evolution that I accept is portrayed in these clades, right? These kinds. So they agree with me. So they accept the same thing I accept. So what the hell is the problem? Well, they'll say the problem is when you go back here to the carnivore kind, we have another one. They say, oh no, that one, they don't agree with that one. So this becomes another hypothesis, right? And that's what a phylogeny is. So every node on the tree is a separate hypothesis. And you could say, you could call any one of them. Like say, it is so well evidenced that I'm going to call it a fact. Okay, but I don't think we ever should. I don't think we ever need to. You say the hypothesis is well supported, like really well supported, and they would agree that the cat kind is well supported. But what about the carnivore kind? Right, going back here. So let me go to another spot here.
Oh, except for when they don't separate the kind at the clade level.
Well, when
it suits their story,
right?
At species level, they'll do it at the they'll do it at whatever level fits their story.
Yeah, and if you started to talk to them about what I'm talking to you guys about, what they would do is say, "Well, how did abiogenesis happen?" Or they would start talking about the age of the Earth. Oh, you accept millions of years. That's
how
geology.
did dirt become a human?
How did dirt become a
Yeah.
human, right? Yeah. So the thing is, okay, check this out. So they believe that all cats, basically came from are here. So this cat kind. But what do they what do they think about hyenas, mongooses, and civets? I don't know. Were they on the ark? I don't know if they thought they were on the ark. And then down here we have the dog bear branch, which is here's a canine or the dog kind, and we have the weasel kind and a raccoon kind and the bear kind. And our hypothesis is that these things had a common ancestor right here, right? That started right there. That is the hypothesis that for them is a step too far. Well, why is it a step too far? If it'd be interesting to see what they. Well, if you look at cats, I mean, Christ Almighty, there's let's see, those are dogs, dogs and Canis rufus. Oh, okay. This is the common ancestor of cats and dogs and carnivores in general. And that looks like kind of like a cat, kind of like a weasel, kind of like a dog, depending on, how the artist renders it. So I don't know why that is. So why would it be impossible for this thing to differentiate into both dogs and cats and raccoons and all those things? That's impossible, they say, but it's possible for this one cat kind to turn into a tiger and a lion and an ocelot and a whole bunch of other things. Yeah, I guess I don't know where I have the cat kinds. I do have, let me see here. I have another thing here. I think, is that it? Yeah, okay. So,
The
here's an
amazing,
ocelot.
the amazing part is 6,000 years.
The what?
The amazing part is 6,000 years.
Yeah, but that's an entirely different thing from evolution. That's kind of concerns geology more than anything else, because we get that fact from geology, and you don't want to let them push you into geology or into radiocarbon dating or any of that bullshit. If you're talking about this cat and dog kind and the common ancestor of cats and dogs, that's all you got to talk about. You're going to talk about nothing else. If you guys are going to have a debate about chimpanzees and humans, then don't let them talk to you about anything prior to that. Don't let them talk to you about cats and dogs. You've got to, when I accept evolution, I accept it in these little tiny areas, right? This one little hypothesis, one little clade. And that would be the Carnivore clade, right? Which created dogs and bears and raccoons and cats and all of that stuff. So they kind of like to push us into religion, their religious thinking, right? And they manipulate us, and they manipulate us by asking us, what is your best evidence? And then they'll pick on that evidence, or they'll pick on us saying it's a fact, or they'll keep it at some metaphysical discussion level. And that isn't where evolution is done. Evolution is done at the common ancestor of these clades, right? The group. Now, this is an ocelot. Is that a cat? Does that look like a cat? Do you think a creationist would say that that's the cat kind?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it has 36 chromosomes.
And
all the other cat kinds have 38.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's a beautiful cat. Absolutely gorgeous. Huh? A gorgeous cat.
Yeah. So the ocelots, obviously, so if they accept that is a cat kind, then they accept that chromosome fusion happens because we have 36 chromosomes here and we have 38 for all the other cat kinds. So all the ocelots have 36.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. And I don't know if there are any other 36. And then if we go down to let's go down to dog kind for a second. Okay, dog kind is pretty cool. 78 chromosomes. Okay, and that's the diploid number. Oh, but here the short-eared dog has 74 chromosomes, and some have probably. Oh, some have the fox have 66. Raccoon dogs have 54, and the fox. Some foxes have 50. So I mean, what the hell is going on here? So if they accept that there's all one big dog kind, they're accepting a hell of a lot of evolutionary theory. That is the duplication of whole genomes, the duplication of chromosomes, the fusion of chromosomes. They're going to have to accept all of that.
Well, that's all stuff that you've never seen without looking through a microscope. And
Yeah.
so that's where they're going to wedge their denial in.
right.
So I personally prefer the cetaceans, but it's a fair point. And what you're really talking about, Mike, I think, is you're trying to give us tips on how to reverse gaslight a narcissist. And it's
Well-
great. Having physical receipts is great because a narcissist will try to gaslight you if you don't have physical receipts. But
Well, yeah,
it's important to understand that, I mean, you can't heal manipulation through endless defending. That just won't ever work. But yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, though.
But
yeah,
have you considered?
you
not-
have. Go ahead.
Sorry, Robin. Go ahead.
I just want to know if you considered nuh-uh.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, if they want to argue with you about the science, right? They're always saying, "Oh, we believe in the science." Well, if they want to talk about the fucking science, then they're going to talk about it the way I want to talk about it here. They're going to limit the hypothesis to one particular clade, and we're going to talk about all the morphology changes that happen within that clade. Because when I study evolution, I don't go and say, "Oh, I'm going to go verify it's a fact," or "I'm going to find my best evidence and then I'm going to believe in it." No, I'm down here looking at the genomes of these different cats and dogs and raccoons and bears and all of that and comparing them. And I'm working at a very, very specific level. So if you want to talk about the fucking science, if you think you're going to talk about science, then you talk about this, is what I'm
No,
telling you.
100%. It's a great point. And I do that with the clade of cetaceans, the set Artichiodactyla data set. And you know what happens? They crash out at question 1, which is, are whales mammals? It takes 3 words to make their brains go system 32 deleted.
Yeah.
And they can't, like, they've never actually thought about it before in their lives.
Right.
But the answer is obviously yes. And then you can work backwards from that to, okay, well, then these things come from the mammal clade. And no.
Yeah,
But they're
Yeah.
like, their
Yeah.
brains shut down at question 1 is the problem. And they won't discuss it. They'll try to derail over and over until they succeed.
they should watch a mother whale, like put out like her real thick milk that
Yeah.
the baby can drink through the water, and of course they have to come up and get air. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was raised young Earth creation, but like,
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
understood in like kindergarten that whales were mammals.
But if you actually think about it, evolution starts to come into focus, and you have to actually think about it. And I think most of the young Earth creationists, evolution deniers I talk to on YouTube, they've never actually thought about it. They've never actually thought about the question, are whales mammals? And it's a great example of how we do the scientific process, right? We ask a question, are whales mammals? Obviously, the answer is yes. They have hair. They lactate to feed their young. They have the mammal glands. They give live birth, and they're warm-blooded. So yeah, they are mammals. And then, okay, so how do we make a hypothesis to explain that? They have a common ancestor with land mammals. And as bizarre, as wild and amazing as that seems, it turns out to be supported by all the fossil evidence, all the genetic evidence, all the embryological and developmental evidence, and of course, all of the direct evidence in experimental evolution and selective breeding and whatnot.
Yeah.
I guess that's as close as I came to learning evolution, like as a child. Was I did know the whales were mammals. I did know the humans were mammals. But like it didn't go any further in the explanation than that.
Yeah, no, the first guy who started posing it, he was dissecting dolphins,
Yes.
and he realized these things have pentadactyl limbs. They have pentadactyl forelimbs, unlike actinopterygian fishes with their ray-like fins. These things have basically a hand inside of them, and why is that? And of course, when you pair that up with the fact that they're mammals, common ancestry, it seems so obvious in hindsight, right? Like, it seems like you do have to be bad faith. And you know what I think creationists are doing with it now is they're just going, okay, that's fine. They're all the same kind. No change in kind. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what the fuck ever then? Because then whatever you define as change in kind is not necessary for evolution.
Yeah, and they're like, what do they mean, change in kind? When you start looking at all the different dogs and cats and hyenas and things like that, and then it's this idea that you can pick out a cat kind is based on sort of a kind of an intuition we have about cats, which would be they have kind of like the cheeks, they're wider faces, they have shorter noses, they have pointy ears and whatever. But you can find dog kinds that look like I showed you that bear dog or whatever that look like a cross between a bear and a dog. It's like, what the hell? What kind is that? Is that a bear? Is that a dog? It's like just all these things.
I doubt creationists would put hyenas. I would have. I see them not even consider. Like I think they would probably balk on saying a hyena is a cat kind instead of a dog kind.
Yeah, but it's more closely related to cats than dogs, and we can show that by not only morphology and anatomy and bone structure, but we can show that by molecular genetic structure, right? So
my favorite is the Fusa.
The what?
The Fusa cat. Well, it's called the cat.
Yeah, the fossa. That was What was the fossa cat? I look. I know. I posted about it.
It's the Fusa cryptoprocta. It has a disguised hindquarters that tricks people into thinking it's female, if I recall correctly.
Okay, there it is, the fossa. Yeah, what do they call that? What do they call that thing? It's the Malagasy civet, basically. That's a fossa. But I mean, is that kind of looks like a dog, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
I could see it.
Where is it? I forget where it is on the tree. Gotta go look at the tree here to see if we can find the tree here. Okay, Feliform, yeah. It's basically it's down here. It's a feliform, so it's not a dog, but it sure as hell looks like a dog kind to me. I would think that was a dog.
Could be.
Looks like
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of see. I could see it being called something like a weasel dog, even.
Yeah, a weasel. It looks a little like a weasel too. So, and then okay, where's the bear dog? Bear dog. Yeah, so part of the trick is they don't want to talk about their theory. They don't want to talk to you. They're not going to tell you what kinds were on the ark, right? They're like, oh, we don't know. Well, God, you got to have a hypothesis because that's what we're doing. If you want to talk about science, then you've got to have a hypothesis for all of this stuff. So if you don't have a hypothesis, then get the fuck out of here and go make one. Right?
Yeah, definitely a major strategy for reverse gaslighting a narcissist is to question their version instead of defending yours. They're never going to accept your defense anyways. So question their version for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is a bear dog. I mean, look at that thing. What the hell is that? I don't know.
As if poking holes in evolution prove their God exists.
Right.
Yeah, little tiny one-off things, right? That's what they'll try to. That's why they ask you, what is your best evidence for evolution, and you'll come up with some specific thing, and it's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. My best evidence for evolution is look at these diagrams, and let's start talking about different kinds and whether or not there's a carnivore kind, because that is the argument. And if they concede that, they've lost, basically. So
yeah, because if there's a carnivore kind, there's a hominoid kind, and humans definitely belong in the humanoid kind. In the more specific kind within the humanoid kind, the hominin kind, as in the tribe Hominini. Yeah.
They don't want to talk about the Neanderthals too much because they're definitely, I mean, what the hell happened with them? Why did all the other humans end up looking pretty much like us, and the Neanderthals look like something entirely different, but they want you to believe that the Neanderthals hopped off the ark? Go figure. Tell us how that works. How does that work?
I think Donnie even thinks that one of Noah's wives was a Neanderthal, or not Noah's wives. One of Noah's son's wives was a Neanderthal. Or something. He comes up with the craziest shit. And, he's not really coming up with it. He's just cribbing it from other creationists that do it more elegantly than he does.
Of course, it had to be a woman.
I got him one time to, I got him narrowed down to, okay, so 4,400 years ago, the ark landed, whatever. Then we had the Ice Age after that. So when was the Ice Age? And I got him down to the point where I think he admitted the entire Ice Age happened in 300 years, came and went, right? That ice built up. Those 2-mile-high glaciers built up over Minnesota and then receded within 300 years. I mean,
it was really cold. Really, really cold.
And then it got really, really hot, and the ice cube just melted. I mean, if those ice cubes melted that fast, it would have washed away the entire southern half of the U.S. It's just like what they want to talk about evolution and all these little problems with evolution, and they never want to talk about their own shit. So I mean, but okay, if no, Rebecca and Cornelius Hunter, they're am I pronouncing his name right? I hope Cornelius. I think that's right.
No, you're nailing it.
Yeah. So they want to talk about, you guys just have religion, right? Like the only reason you believe in evolution is because you say God wouldn't have done it this way. And it's like, no, we're not going to talk about, I mean, we're either going to talk about your theory or we're going to talk about our theory. And if we're going to talk about our theory, then we're going to just brute fact, accept what geologists tell us. We're going to accept radiocarbon dating. We're going to talk about one particular aspect of evolution. You are not going to get gallop me into abiogenesis or anywhere else other than one particular aspect and tell me why you don't accept it. Why don't you accept that carnivores, basically, there was a carnivore and early common ancestor that was the ancestor of cats and dogs? Why don't they accept that? And they get really scared when they have to talk about their own shit because they don't know how, because they have
I haven't studied the carnivores. I have studied the Bible. I'll have to get back to you on that, brother. Hovind.
Yeah. Good one. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, that was pretty good. Yeah. But if you considered,
Yeah. So, the point is to find out where exactly we disagree. And then when it comes to people, like I've always had a problem with people saying, oh, you believe in evolution. It's like, no, it's too big a thing for me to believe in, because if I believe in evolution, then do I believe that basically, I can't even think of the terms right now, but I mean, there are controversies in how we make these clades right now, right? And so if I believe in evolution, do I believe in both sides of each controversy that there is out there right now?
No,
I don't know.
Mike, in philosophy, though, I know you hate philosophy, but in
No, I love
philosophy,
philosophy. Man.
in
Why do people keep
philosophy,
saying that?
knowledge is a subset of belief. So, like anything that you have to believe also.
Oh yeah, yeah. Things that I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So like belief is like required for knowledge. So
Yeah, it would be absurd to say to count the number of jelly beans in a jar and then say I don't believe it, but I know this jar has 49 jelly beans in it. Like it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, right. Okay. If you count them, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, no, actually, Robert, I love philosophy. I just hate people that think they're doing philosophy when they're doing bullshit.
Sophistry, yeah. There's a
but
lot
I
of
Phil Bro.
philosophistry
Phil
out
Bro
there for
crap.
sure.
Yeah, Phil Bro. Like I can't stand Phil Bro stuff. Modal.
Anyway.
I don't really care about anything about the modal arguments about anything. The possible worlds and.
So Minnesota and Canada aren't a lot different. Yeah, we had an ice age here, right where I am in Minneapolis. The
I was just
ice
thinking that.
receded 15,000 years ago. It receded, and then up where I'm from on the Iron Range, it was 5,000 years ago that the ice receded. It took 10,000 years to go 250 miles. That's how slow it is. That's how slow glaciers recede. They don't recede in 300 goddamn years. You know. It's just
Don't we
ridiculous.
have river varves from that glacial melt? Like seasonal depositions and limnological bodies of water that have lived that long?
Yeah, there's tons of evidence here in Minnesota about what the glaciers did and how they did. In fact, that's why we have actually 13,000 lakes. So because of what the glaciers did to the terrain, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan,
but anyway,
so we have an assload of lakes too. I think I don't know the exact number, but I know it's a lot.
Yep. But let's see.
Well, that's the sign when you come into Minnesota. It says the land of 13,000 lakes or whatever it is.
They say 10,000 because
10,000 lakes or so, whatever.
Well, the thing is that 3,000 of them are named Bass Lake. And 2,000 of them are named Long Lake, and yeah,
it's on the sign though. Like when you cross into Minnesota,
I know
it's on the sign.
Yep, yeah. Like there was a place where we hunted up by Ely, Minnesota, far northern Minnesota, and we go walking, and we would discover 3 lakes in the morning. We'd find 3 lakes that had no roads into them or anything. They'd just be out there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, here in Michigan, it's not just lakes. We also just have tons of glacial hills. And if that got blown out by a glacier moving that fast in 300, it would just be a canyon, right? It'd be a a valley of destruction from a glacier moving that quickly. But you can see the gradualism in the hills that it makes, and they're beautiful. They look like just carved marble.
Yeah, right outside my back door here, there's an example of a catastrophic flood that created the Minnesota River Valley. And that happened within 3 or 4 days. There was an 800-foot high wall of water when a glacial dam broke that created that entire valley, just melted the rock, came through at 60 miles an hour or maybe 300 miles an hour, and it actually melted the bedrock. Melted billion-year-old sandstone and to carve this valley that's about 150 feet deep and about a mile and a half wide. It was pretty amazing. That's right outside my door. But let's see, where are we here? The head and the face. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to check out is orphan genes. Now, orphan genes in the cat kind and in the dog kind, right? They talk about there are orphan genes, and that proves that one couldn't have evolved from the other because they think a de novo gene had to form, within 100,000 years or 500,000 years or whatever. That's not actually what happened, but we find orphan genes in the cat kind. I think they found thousands of them, basically, that are in some species but not in other species. And what that means, it doesn't mean that the genetic sequence isn't in the DNA. It means that the gene is not being expressed for, like maybe like if you have a Chihuahua and you have a German Shepherd. There might be some things that are expressed in the Chihuahua that are not expressed in the German Shepherd. You would call it an orphan gene, basically. But we look into these shapes and how things happen, and what that does. Okay, so now we're gonna talk to them about how things came from that common carnivore ancestor, right? And we're gonna get them to tell us why the morphology of the ears and the face and the snout and the length of the snout cannot change. But look at a Chihuahua and a German Shepherd, or a Bulldog and a German Shepherd, and it's pretty obvious that the face can get stubby and shorter, right? They accept that. Why don't they accept the other thing? What is? Then we're going to talk about embryology. We've got a big talk to have about embryology, because how these things form are with very small modifications to the genome, and there's no reason why we cannot derive a cat and a dog kind from a common ancestor. And if they want to disprove evolution, they have to show us why that can't happen. Have they ever done that? Nope. Nope.
Of course not. 150 plus years, still going strong.
Still going strong. So what do we got here? Cats and dogs, evolution versus creation debate. Oh, yeah. Okay, so like Cornelius Hunter and Rebecca, they're going to come on tomorrow and talk about all evolutionists use religious arguments from Darwin in the 19th century, and that's why we believe in evolution. No, that's not why we believe in evolution. It has nothing to do with it. No one
they're
in
gonna
biology
say we're the religious ones and they're the real scientists.
real scientists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet they won't talk to you about the real science of how the cat kind got to be, how the different ones, how did that morphology change, basically?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Well, they're going to say it was microevolution, Mike. It was change within a kind. We all accept that, but obviously, frog to fish to frog to monkey to man evolution is bullshit.
Yeah, they're going to say it's adaptation. That all the information was in the genome, but here, like dogs that have really short legs, that was a result of a retro, basically a retro gene, a gene that the RNA got encoded back into the genome, which is not variation, right? It's not adaptation when that happened. And that's how, let's see, what do we have here? Strongest perceptual cue, face head complex. Oh, I'm asking, okay, that's another subject here. I'm not sure where retro genes. Yeah, there's just all of these things that we know happen in us just breeding dogs, basically. All of these genetic modifications, and they're not only adaptation. All the information wasn't in the genome to begin with. Some genes were duplicated and they became modified, and there's just a whole bunch of information. So and they would have to insist that none of that was possible, because if it is possible, then there's no reason why we can't extend the theory to the common ancestor prior to cats and dogs. So
that's what I love about the Dodd incipient sexual separation experiment, Mike. You know that one, right?
The what?
So Diane Dodd, incipient sexual separation of Drosophila melanogaster. I always get that backwards. Melanogaster, not melanogaster. Melanogaster. She took a population of Drosophila melanogaster. I just did it. Fuck. I just reminded. Melanogaster, and
Say
she's
Melanogaster. But,
Melanogaster. There you go.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
got a shot of adrenaline. No.
Yep.
She took a population of Drosophila, fruit flies, and she geographically separated them. And she fed one maltose food, and she fed the other, I think, dextrose, or she just fed them different food sources. And within
Okay.
40 generations, the population that she fed on maltose had incipient sexual separation from the other population. They wouldn't choose each other as mates anymore,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
even unless you artificially constrain their selections. And even then, it was difficult to get them to do it. So they had speciated in just 40 generations. She had generated a species. And what creationists have to do is they have to show that that can't happen. And since we know that it can happen, they can't win. The debate's over. Like they've lost, but they won't accept that fact. That's what they do. If they won't accept any fact, that means the debate is over. Because
Right.
if the debate is over, God isn't real, and I don't get to see my grandma again.
Yeah.
Humans are just apes. Jesus died on the cross for nothing.
What in the hell happened here? I lost my entire screen. Okay, there it is. Oh my God. Okay, broadly speaking, where the hell is it? Somebody mentioned a new YouTube channel. Have you heard of this one?
No.
Probably.
I'm getting it pulled up right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here too. Speaking Broadly is his name. Yeah, okay, cool, got it. I got a link to it, Robin.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So when creationists talk about micro and macro evolution, I say correctly to them that macro evolution is just evolution that takes a minimum of 40 generations. And it only takes that few generations in a population that's been selectively bred, and it has to be a population of like insects or very small organisms with really swift generation times. So
They love stuff that's listed in 40 generations.
Yeah.
It's very biblical sounding.
yeah.
So he has larvae, slugs, food to egg, wildlife floats. He's got just a few videos, apparently just starting out. Already has 11.4K subscribers, which is pretty goddamn. How do you do that? I can't get any subscribers. Anyway, that's because we suck.
I was never worried that much about subscriber count, but I do my best.
Yeah.
I think you have to make content like maybe that guy like had a different channel name or something. I don't know, but
well, you gotta work on your content a little bit so it's flashy, and there's all kinds of things flashing in and out and that crap like that. And I mean, I could do that, but then I wouldn't be doing the studying I'm doing. So I don't know. It's kind of a trade-off. I mean, I could do one or the other. I can't do both.
I just like to let future of the earth understand that imaginary people can be any race. Like,
yeah, that's true. Santa can be black if you want him to.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What else did I have here? Oh, okay. So, like this rhetorical maneuver that evolutionary theory is secretly based on theology. It has nothing to do with that. I never think about theology. I've never thought about theology in my entire life. I've never been atheist in my entire life. So why would I sit around and think that evolution is true because God wouldn't have done it that way? I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't know what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, they're just equivocating.
Evolution is supported by genetics, comparative anatomy, developmental biology, biogeography, paleontology, observed selection, mutation, speciation and common patterns of descent.
This
Yeah,
is
you know,
why
like
they-
how religions are supported with all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
This is why they attack science just generally. Because just one branch of science isn't sufficient to to like debunk everything that they. So that's why they just attack science in general.
Yeah,
Just-
because if science is true, the Bible is full of scientific inaccuracies and absurdities and shit that you have to contort yourself into a pretzel to explain. And
Yeah.
so they would rather accept the simple explanation, the one that doesn't lead you to all that dangerous thinking, that the Bible is just perfect, and anyone who tells you otherwise is they're either a liar, or Satan has them, or the evil spirit has them, and you're good. Just don't believe them and just keep being a good Christian, and you'll be rewarded for it. You'll get to see
Yeah.
grandma again.
Or we should not have that. I've recently had one that told me that, like, me telling him that he should value evidence was me trying to prescribe a moral. My
You are
moral-
actually,
but
and
like,
it's the right one.
but the thing about
That's
it
fucked
is
up
me-
that he said that as if that you're doing something wrong there, because you're doing
Yeah.
something exactly right. You
but like I was
should
just
you
explaining
should
why
withhold
I
belief
value
in a proposition. You should withhold belief in a proposition until there is sufficient evidence, sufficient corroborative evidence to warrant that belief. Otherwise, we
Right.
would have ship captains taking their ships out to sea saying, I don't need to do any fucking costly, expensive maintenance on this bitch. I'm fucking blessed by Jeebus. And everybody fucking drowns and dies when the ship immediately fails because there was some huge problem with it. You would have found if you
Right.
had withheld belief until you had sufficient corroborative evidence, right? Which
Now
which
you're
is
talking
just
about
the ethics
Boeing
of
Airlines. You're talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Boeing.
but like
Oh hell yes, I am.
he tried to tell me though that like me saying like me is like he said that the atheists say that them. So me saying that I value evidence is making a moral prescription upon him, and I'm placing a value on evidence. And like I was like, to me, if you're saying that you don't value evidence, that is the definition of being irrational, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Isn't that what irrational means?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
So that's why I told him. I told him. I said, you're saying that you want to be irrational. I mean, like, that's
Not
fine.
just irrational, illogical, incurious, unempirical. Yeah, just
Well, I mean,
all
but
kinds
irrational
of
though. I
different
think
words that mean
you-
stupid, basically.
yeah, when you avoid irrational though is about like evidence, like
Yeah.
I mean, like, so
Well,
like logic's not necessarily got along with that. You know what I mean? As long as you have a contradiction, then you actually kind of can follow logic. But the thing about it is that rationality is based on evidence. So like, and I think that most Christians do not want to be called irrational.
I think empiricism and skepticism are more evidence-based, and rationality is almost similar to logic in that, like,
Mathematics.
to me,
Yeah, mathematical
yeah,
logic.
to me, rationality means like if I see a pile of purple marshmallows on the floor, I'm not going to assume that a fairy came over and bippity boppity booed the marshmallows there. I'm going to assume my daughter went to the grocery store and bought some purple marshmallows and dumped them on the floor for some reason. You know, like that's what rationality means.
Well, like
Like, does that make
rationality is the quality of basing thoughts, beliefs, and actions on reason, logic, and strong evidence.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So
Yeah. So you can do with just reason and logic. You don't even need to like take evidence into account to do rational things. Like, I don't have evidence that my daughter's ever bought purple marshmallows. I don't know if they even have purple marshmallows at the grocery store. But if that pile of purple marshmallows were there, it would make more sense to assume those things even without that evidence than it would to assume fairies, because Like, I know fairies aren't real.
What? Fairies aren't what? you just shattered my dream.
Yeah.
I believe in fairies. Oh no.
Well, if fairies are real, they don't bring purple marshmallows into people's houses.
Yeah, mushrooms. They bring
up.
purple
Yeah.
mushrooms.
Yeah, purple marshmallows into people's house and dump them on the floor, right? Like
Stop
that,
it.
that's
Be
not
careful.
that's not any fairy folklore that's out there. I guess it could become fairy folklore. New lore just dropped, guys. New lore just dropped in the comments if you're watching the restream.
New what?
New lore just dropped.
Dogma or something.
It's a meme.
Oh.
Lore, like a story.
Oh, new lore just. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Purple
by the way,
marshmallow lore.
The Odyssey is out in theaters now, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, it
It's
comes out.
getting-
Was it out yet? I think it was it. Or
It's getting 97% Rotten Tomatoes, I guess.
That's impressive.
is it out today? I mean, is it out today? Was it today coming out?
I thought it was today. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go. I think next Tuesday to the. We got a really beautiful theater that just opened up out here with a IMAX screen and pretty impressive. Anyway, the Evolution.
The Odyssey got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, huh? I wonder what the Bible got. I bet the Bible got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God, it's such a boring book. It's like, and why would I believe what's in that book? I mean, because it says in the book I should believe it. The book is where it says it's the word of. Well, I don't even know if the book says it's the word of God.
Yeah, and it's like it's really not like all that stoning and stuff like that goes on. It's just
I
not.
gotta read that crap. I don't know.
The napkin religion is the one true religion. It's the one true religion because it says so right on this napkin.
And there's only one boat in the
Right.
whole, in the book. Like the Odyssey has, like how many ships went to Troy, and left Troy like on the way back? How many ships further? There was like thousands of ships of all the people that went to Troy to fight in the Trojan War, and they got one boat in that book.
Yeah. They claim they're doing the real science. Okay, and then they say, "Oh, the Earth is 6,000 years old." Okay, what scientific evidence or experiment tells you that the Earth is 6,000 years old? There's nothing anywhere that I've ever seen that other than the Bible.
What
So
about
I mean,
that guy?
like, okay,
Well,
What
if you
about
take
the guy
the
that was-
pedigree mutation rate and you conflate it with the fixation rate, the substitution rate, then
right.
Eve, therefore
Oh,
Eve.
yeah, Eve.
So
Eve,
therefore God.
What
and
about
the
guy that
Bible.
was trying to do the like he was trying to disprove plate tectonics? Did you see that, Mike? Like on our friend's
Somewhere
channel?
I did.
And I was like, and I just Googled like his theory, whatever it was, or his his like model that he was using, and it had been debunked by Ken Ham's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
No,
Even
this is
your
okay.
own people, the people who are most vested, like most interested, because like he has this boat here in Kentucky that he tries to sell off to people to come see. Even people who are have a vested interest in proving this ridiculous boat story true
Mhm.
don't accept
Robin.
this. They don't even accept this.
Robin, I have a neologism for this. I call it pseudopsionic dissonance.
That's
Psionic.
When pseudopsionic dissonance, and the definition is when two different pseudoscience peddlers are both insisting the other one is a fucking liar, piece of shit. He's the liar. He's so wrong about everything. He says that plate tectonics is the theory. He says hydroplate theory is the theory. There's no way it can't solve the heat problem.
Yes, the hydroplate theory. I mean, like
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because like
You get it with flurfers too.
that guy was
You
like,
get-
yeah, he had it for like a couple of days. He was, and I Googled it, and I was like, "Look, it's been debunked by Ken Ham." Like, you know that your model is shit when Ken Ham
Yeah.
debunks it. You know, says it's not even true. Like, why are
Yeah.
yeah.
You got the young Earth creationists, and they're saying the geocentric flat Earth young Earth creationists are fucking crazy. They're insane. Nobody believes their insane bullshit. And then you have the old Earth creationists, and they're saying the young Earth creationists are fucking insane and they're crazy. No one believes their crazy bullshit. And then you have the evolutionary creationists and the theistic evolutionists, and they're saying the old Earth creationists, the young Earth, the geocentric, they're all fucking crazy. It's so ironic.
I think if they're going to stick with the Bible, they should go ahead and say the Earth is flat, and it's like
I have some sympathy for the geocentric flat Earth, young Earth creationists. It's not their fault that their fucking Bible is full of scientific inaccuracies, and they have to, abandon science and reality to defend it, to defend dogma. I especially don't blame them if they're still really young and they don't know otherwise, or they were brainwashed and indoctrinated. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Technically, you can make a similar argument about the antebellum South, and you could say the pro-slavery people had a more biblical argument than the anti-slavery people, the abolitionists.
They did. They actually did.
The Bible's
as Sam Harris points out, they were on
condoned slavery multiple times.
They were on the winning side of the theological argument. Is Sam Harris points that out all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So this whole thing, evolution is religious claim. It's like a defensive function, right? It shifts the attention away from the creationist explanatory burden.
Well, that's part of it for sure, Mike, but I also think it serves another purpose, and that purpose is like the whole underlying purpose for creationism, which is that on some level, the creationist is aware that they are accepting, like they're asking a scientific question, where did the species come from? And they're accepting like the cow jumped over the moon, bippity boppity boo, level fairy tale, myth, folklore explanation for that question over a scientific model that can be supported with highly reliable science facts and empirical evidence from dozens of independent lines of inquiry that all cross-verify and jive with each other. So on some level, they know they're doing that. And it's causing them this profound distress. And so sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, they will counter you immediately and say, oh, no, we have all this scientific evidence. And then they will talk about nothing but papers that have been published, with cherry-pick quotes, what evolutionists have said or evolutionary biologists have said. And they'll try to draw you back into those little one-off things that they have where there's problems for evolution. And they won't talk about their theory, their idea, right?
No. So, Ken Hovind says, I don't know how it happened, but when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask God. Maybe I'll watch it on DVD.
Yeah. So, okay, how is it science? How is it science then if you know nothing, if you can't say a thing? So the moment we ask them to describe a positive theory, creative kind, separately designed lineages, intelligent intervention, or limits to common descent, they retreat into criticism of evolution. It's like we can never get them to talk about their own fucking shit.
Because
there's a reason for that.
I know it.
They have nothing. Part of the reason is not only can they not satisfy us, they can't satisfy their own cognitive dissonance, right? Inside of their heads, they're not going to want to think in detail about any of it. Because if they did, they would have to abandon that whole pile of shit. So, I mean, it scares the bejesus out of them. Bejesus? It scares Jesus right out of them. It's just like, oh, no, we can't think about this. It's like there's all these questions like, what exactly is a kind? How can kinds be identified independently how do they do that? When were they created? What biological mechanism produces variation in a kind, but prevents ancestry between kinds? What is the problem there? What is the difference? Like, tell us about. I mean, if you want to have that conversation, and you're going to counter evolution with your idea, then you have to tell us about your fucking idea, not about evolution. We got that shit all figured out ourselves, right? Our theory is coherent.
This is so correct, because just questioning their version instead of defending yours is the general route to go with science deniers. You already know they're not going to accept science. So why would you defend science to them? Make them defend their shit.
They cannot afford.
You know what? It is a high level psychological recommendation for reverse gaslighting the narcissist. I struggle with just tip 1, right, which is just stay calm. I get so fucking incensed by these.
Me too.
I struggle to even call them people sometimes. Genuinely,
yes,
yeah.
Let's use the term homunculi.
Sometimes they're really rude to you.
Yeah,
like the Proverbs guys as assholes. When I tried to reason with them, tried to get them to actually look at things reasonably, they started calling me a liar. And that was their only defense, and they pissed me off.
And you know what? If you had stayed, they were getting emotional there, and you should have stayed calm. And that would have been a great way to reverse gaslight them. But it is hard to stay calm when someone's fucking throwing unfair accusations at you. Anybody will get upset by that.
Austin went on there to explain sexual reproduction to them, and they began to ask him about the Big Bang.
Yeah, of course.
Big Bang, yeah.
And I just about lost my mind, because I was like, because they were like, we want to talk about sexual reproduction, Robin. You want to come on and talk about it? And I was like, I don't know shit about sexual reproduction. Yeah. I just know how sex works, kind of. But I can.
Yeah, I was talking to them about gametes and meiosis and diploid cell versus haploid cells, and they were just totally checked out.
They were like, well, tell us, what about the Big Bang?
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
What about the Big Bang? What's your foundation? What's your philosophical foundation? And I had answers for every question they asked. They asked my philosophical foundation. I was like, curiosity, rationality, logic. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is my foundation? The foundation everybody uses every day in their life. Assuming they're not insane.
I said, I went and got a biologist, and y'all want to quiz him on the Big Bang.
Yeah, you know, everything else.
Just absolutely made my hair stand up on the back of my head.
No, but it was fun. I was ready for it.
So, okay, next subject. You want to have a get together to do some debate prep, and I could try to do a little prep. Did you watch that Dr. Dan video that he did just recently?
The one on explaining somatic mutations to Rebecca?
Yep.
I have not watched it in depth yet. I skimmed it.
I watched the one about the Christian.
But I will watch it in greater depth.
Yeah, I think that's one to start with, and I can go ahead. I think I have a whole folder on mitochondrial DNA and mitochondrial Eve somewhere under.
Well, the specific debate we're taking is Adam and Eve, so the onus is 100% on him. Like, he's going to have to do nothing but defend his worldview during this. And I don't know if he's actually ready to do that. I'm pretty sure he's just going to try and poke holes in evolution the whole time.
Are you and Joe going to be together?
Me, Joe versus him and Sam. So it's going to be his young Earth creationist shit and Sam's pre-sup shit.
Have you heard of this? Okay, so we got Adam and Eve, right? So, oh shit. I need a pen. Okay, Adam and Eve. Oh, wow. That second one didn't draw. Why didn't it draw? Oh, no, it did draw. Okay, you just can't see it there. Yeah, I've got to make my screen big. Let's see. How do I do that? Okay. Anyway, so we got Adam and Eve, right? So they have two copies of each gene, right? They have, 2 chromosomes per gene, and he's going to claim that all the variation in human populations, like for instance, for insulin, I think there's something like 400 different alleles that they found in human populations. And for every gene, there's all of these different variations in alleles, right?
But they
And
don't
he's
have
going to claim.
genes. They're like that because she's
He's
a
going to
rib
claim
girl.
it came from 4
She's
because
a
they
rib
both
girl.
have
yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Right.
she's
And
a rib girl,
okay. So
she has the same
so
DNA.
one thing they're going to say is that Eve had this big bag of eggs, and in every egg was a different genome. Every single, all 30,000 Eve eggs had a different genome. See if he uses that, because that's where he thinks the variation came from.
Which one? Which verse is that in? The bag.
And how
I
did
don't know
this
which verse
happen?
What's that?
How did this happen?
God created it that way. That's
God
what God
gave-
did.
God sent him with a bag of eggs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bunny.
Oh,
like
blessed egg.
when he ripped the rib out. And okay, he made the Eve, and he had to make the 30,000 eggs in Eve, right? Because that's what a
And how did
young
he get
woman
the eggs
has.
from the rib? That's what I want to know. Where did the eggs come
What's
from?
that?
How did they get eggs
he-
from the rib?
He made each one out of like I don't know. He made it out of part of the rib. Like how God makes things out of ribs.
He cast the polymorph spell on it at 8th level, Robin. Come on.
And,
Obviously.
It's like,
and then not only is like them two had the same genome, is then she breeds with their children, I guess. So like,
yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, Robin. The actual theological response to that is they went to the neighboring town and got wives.
Was it his baculum? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know. Oh, that's where it went.
it was a rib, wasn't it? A rib.
I think about it as baculum because men don't have that for some reason. I don't know.
Because my look, I'm one of my best friends that I've known for years. Me and him, like last year, had an argument about whether he had one less rib than I did.
Yeah.
He made that comment, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking about?" And he was like, "I said you don't have one less rib than me." And he was like, "Yeah, we do." I was like, "No, you don't." I said, like it would have took y'all like 5 minutes to just like counted a skeleton. You know what I mean? And say, "Oh, wait a minute, they don't have one less rib than women."
Yeah. Well, they had.
Well, Robin,
it's
people
amazing
accept claims that they hear from other people in a distressing proportion, especially if they're a person that they consider like authoritative, like a pastor or a parent. And I would say, I can't put a number on it, but like if I were to just wildly speculate, I would say people accept something like 80% of what they hear sight unseen and never actually double check it. So it doesn't surprise me at all that there's lots of men out there that think they have one less rib than a woman.
I may have believed it at one time, but after I started studying the human skeleton, they don't tell you in anatomy class that men have 204 ribs and women have 206 or something like that. So, or 207.
Crazy. Okay. Anyway, so we got to wrap her up here. I got to go make soup.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me to the stream, Mike.
Yeah.
Enjoy your
100%.
soup.
Yeah.
Making them defend their worldview is a great point to keep in mind.
Right. And at least, draw them into some particular part of evolution and get them talking about that shit instead of pulling up papers that they've cherry picked and gish galloping. Like when you debate Donnie, the moderator should stop him from scrolling up and down on his PowerPoint, because he does that as sort of a tool to deflect you, confuse you, and to also show, I have so many PowerPoint. And the amazing thing about his PowerPoint, it's the same one I was looking at 5 years ago. He just keeps adding to it. He must have 10,000 pages already on that PowerPoint thing.
Yeah, it distracts the audience too. And it just shows that he's not actually listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Right.
Well,
this debate?
if you really want me to break it down for you, Mike, I have 5 things that I'm planning to do, and one is going to be the hardest, which is just staying calm and not letting him make me just want to explode with his absolute bullshit. 2 is questioning his version instead of defending mine. 3 is pointing out manipulation that he does directly. Reminding him, hey, we were talking, you keep changing the subject. We were talking about this, and now we're talking about something else and we didn't. So the other thing is to, this is more just for me personally, stop needing him to admit the truth. He's not going to admit it. So just accept that he's not going to. We don't need him to admit it. It's true whether he admits it or not. And then the 5th one, and this one goes with number 2. If you can do it, if you can question their version and get them to defend their worldview instead of trying to poke holes in ours, when they fail to do it, make them sit in their own contradictions. Don't let them just immediately shuffle on. You make them sit with it. So ideally, the last thing that happened should be a contradiction that he has to sit with from the end of this debate until the next one. So I do have kind of a plan to hopefully reverse some of the gaslighting a little bit, but he's a fucking master. Like he is a used car. Yeah. He's a used car salesman to the core. So I'll do my best. But
Austin, get you
he's a Volkswagen salesman.
Some of those little sticky notes things, and write, stay calm. And then write in big letters, and then get the bright pink ones and the bright yellow ones, and post them on your monitor, in the corners of your monitor. But stay calm, stay on top, whatever your things is, and put it right there in front of your face.
Yeah.
If you have any oxys laying around,
No, don't. don't.
Smoke a nice fatty, right?
Yeah. But I would put me some sticky notes there and just look at them.
Hey man, so do you even know what the fuck evolution is, man?
Yeah.
Nah, you don't.
That'd be Joe. You got Joe for that.
Yeah.
Joe will probably be calm anyway.
Impossible.
Joe stays pretty calm.
Okay, guys, I want to wrap her up. I want to get out of here. So
go fix some soup. Make some soup.
Yeah.
Watch out for the.
Think about what I said about evolution as a fact, and about bringing your best evidences and all that bullshit. And maybe I can change your mind again. Anyway, okay, guys.
Watch out for the pseudo-psionic dissonance.
Yes, pseudo-psionic dissonance. Okay. Goodbye, cruel world. We're ending the stream. And we're out.